Matteo, how did you get the idea for making this film? I know that Giambattista Basile comes from Naples. Was it because you wanted to talk about Naples culture that you wanted to do this film, or did you want to just change your style and get people to use, or get yourself to use your imagination? Take the mic.
Diciamo che credo che nel mio percorso artistico ci sia sempre stato un elemento fiabesco anche nei miei film precedenti. Soltanto partivo dall'osservazione della realtà per poi trasfigurarla in una dimensione fantastica. Questa volta ho fatto il percorso inverso, sono partito da un viaggio fantastico, meraviglioso di Basile, da dei racconti di Basile stupendi, per poi portarli in una dimensione più reale, più realistica.
En fait, there's always been an element of fables in my different films. In the past, I've started with reality and I've given it a fantastic aspect. I've done the opposite here. Were you familiar with Giambattista Basile before you started working on the film? How did you discover the universe and what was your reaction?
I discovered it through the eyes of Matteo.
Ouais.
There, and he would use us as pieces of the brush, you know, and move us and change it and repaint it until he was happy with the painting. The process of working with him was like being a color in a brush that kept transforming until the artist said, okay, it's finished, it's ready. So it was a very, very interesting process.
Vincent, Cassel, this universe reminds me of Beauty and the Beast. I'm sure it's the kind of thing which appeals to you. You look very comfortable with that universe. Is that one of your favorite environments? Well, I wouldn't say I'm particularly attracted to fairy stories. What I was interested here in was the completely off-the-wall nature of these stories. And the role which Matteo gave me is a role which is almost a comedy role, although the overall tableau is rather dark. It's exciting, it's thrilling, and there are no goodies, there are no baddies, they're just people who are trying to deal with their own problems. It's a unique film.
Salma,
you are a queen, you want to have a baby. That's a very modern-day concern. Women are prepared to do all kinds of things to have a baby. You can identify with certain elements of the different characters in Vincent's character and your own.
Yes, I think what makes it amazing, the film, is that it all starts with real conflicts that humans have still today. That's also what makes it contemporary. And it starts with conflicts that we can all relate to, and then it takes them into the madness. But every time we go to the madness, there's a really interesting, disturbing psychological thesis behind it. I can't believe that he was talking about the obsession for women to stay young, you know, in the 17th century.
Oui.
And so, you know, it talks about all these different. To me, it's a movie that talks mostly about women and our main concern. And this is the one part when he called me about the movies. There is 3 stories about women that are very today, and they become one in a way. The minute he said there's 3 stories about women, without reading the script, just knowing that it was him, he could have stopped talking. I was in. It was very exciting.
But the film is based on... Why does nobody know this book, at least in Europe?
Questa è una domanda a cui non so rispondere, però...
Well, that is a question that I'm not able to answer, in fact. He is an author, a writer who's unknown, and it's unfair. He's not well known in Italy either. In fact, he was the first person who wrote tales like Puss in Boots, Cinderella, and he has a whole wealth of characters, images, and wonderful stories that are extremely modern. He wrote fables, archetypes, which remain very topical. I thought, therefore, that it was right and fair to make a film based on these tales. It was an ambitious project, granted. One had to be a bit bold and daring to do so, but I launched into this adventure with a whole group of actors and actresses who were quite extraordinary, and you saw the result.
Je voudrais savoir comment a été l'expérience de travailler avec
What was it like working with the director, Matteo Garrone?
Merci de me poser cette question.
Well, thank you for asking the question.
En fait, facile.
In fact, it was easy.
Facile, c'est toujours compliqué de faire des compliments quand la personne est juste à côté, mais facile comme la plupart des gens qui travaillent avec les autres.
But it was very
Et
easy.
effectivement, sur le plateau de Matteo, on arrive, très très vite, les conversations sont assez informelles, on parle de choses comme ça, on mange, on a toujours l'impression que tout ça est facile.
And you have the impression that everything's easy, even if it isn't, at least for him in any event.
Quelque chose de très détendu sur le plateau.
And the set is always really relaxed.
Une espèce de mélange d'anglais, de
There's a
français,
mixture of English,
d'italien.
French, Italian.
Et tout ça se passe, je dirais, et quand je dis ça, c'est un compliment, à l'italienne.
C'est-à-dire
qu'il y a une certaine désinvolture parfois dans la manière de faire qu'ont les Italiens, et qui donne peut-être ce charme au cinéma italien, en tout cas celui qui est bon et celui qu'on a aimé. Et donc voilà,
something very endearing in the Italian cinema, so it was quite frankly very easy.
For me, it was a little different. I actually found it challenging, but fascinating. Definitely worth it and exciting. But I found it challenging because even though it's a fairy tale and a fable, it doesn't go where the fairy tales and fables usually go. It goes to very unique places, and it goes in a very unique way. And so the challenge was, you understand the character, you understand everything, and then you enter this world that is already bizarre, but now you have to enter his head. And as an actress, I'd like to guess what they're gonna think, and please, I'm gonna, but you could never guess what he was gonna think. And it was a wonderful experience because you had to be completely vulnerable and available in every way, emotionally and physically, because a lot of the scenes were very physically challenging. It doesn't look like it. But Massimo here, please get up, Massimo. Say hello to the crowd. He never made me a dress that weighted less than 30 kilos. So when Matteo wanted to go around and around the labyrinth, and he would get on top and say, okay, now come to this room. It's right here. But I had to walk for 45 minutes on the big dress to get to where he wanted me.
Then when you tried to jump.
Oh, and then at some point I was so exhausted, and he said, look at the light. No, we have to do the close-up again because now it's after 8 or 9 hours. And we're all sweating. And come here, just to this side. I said, Matteo, it's 45 minutes. I won't make it. The light will change. But jump. And so I actually tried to jump, but the dress was so heavy that I got stuck. They couldn't bring the crane to pull me off. He was standing right next to me where I am laying flat because the dress has like wire. I don't know what he has, but you cannot bend. And he's saying, somebody pick her up, somebody pick her up. And like 3 guys, it was so humiliating. And Massimo is screaming. I'm like dying there, and he's screaming, the dress! And Matteo is screaming, the light, hurry up! And finally, they got me to the other side, so it was challenging every day, but exciting and fascinating.
A word. How are you? Fine, it's wonderful. Very happy to be here. It's amazing. The first time we fight an ogre going red cards, I think so. Careful, careful. Talk about the experience with Matteo Garrone. It's a very special film, a very strange film, very sensitive, very strong.
It also was quite peculiar film, but it was amazing. It was very different than anything I've ever done before, and I am very grateful that I had this opportunity to work with such a brilliant director.
I like the fact that this movie is in Cannes because it's so particular, and it's also a genre movie. It's also a fairy tale. What do you think about it?
It's an elegant genre movie. You know, I have not seen it. No, none of the actors. We're gonna experience it with the audience tonight for the first time.
You're in for a treat. I saw it and I love it. Merci beaucoup, Salma.
Merci.